Advice. Yeah. I can hear it up here, but all right, use your teacher voice.
All right, my name is Alexandra Rumble. I'm a teacher at McKinleyville High School. I'm also a graduate student researcher at Cal Poly Humboldt.
Yeah.
Last year in April, you voted in favor for the Israel Supplemental Securities Act. I would like to say that I'm absolutely not in favor of you voting for our tax dollars to fund armament. And now that Israel's broken the ceasefire, I want to know what you are going to do to ensure the end of the genocide against the Palestinian people.
Got it. I think everybody can hear that question. It is about Gaza and Israel and a vote that I took a year ago to support military assistance to Israel, which is something that the United States has always supported. So look, I'm going to answer your question. I don't think we're going to agree on some of the details, but I think we all can agree that what's been unfolding in Gaza is horrific. I have been horrified by the way this war has been carried out. I'm even more horrified by the fact that under this new administration, there seems to be a desire to rubber stamp even more of it, and to actually go into displacing as much as 2 million Palestinians from Gaza and the West Bank. Back to the corruption thing I talked about at the beginning. Donald Trump openly talks about using U.S. foreign policy and even the military to help drive these Palestinians out of Gaza and then go in and build condos and resorts. So we're in a dark place right now. We just are in the process of confirming the ambassador to Israel, former Governor Mike Huckabee. Yeah, I feel the same way, trust me. Who believes that Israel has a biblical birthright to all of these lands, and that he supports annexation and thinks that everyone else should just move out. So look, my vote, as is often the case on things like Middle East policy, not a vote between something that was totally good and something that was totally bad. I am often asked to choose between two bad things. And in my view, supporting the military aid that the state of Israel needs to defend its people while trying to use our influence to change government policies in Israel, because I don't like the current Israeli government. I oppose them on all sorts of things. But I don't want to throw the people of Israel under the bus, because they are in a uniquely vulnerable situation. They have been since 1948. So that's the answer. I don't like what's been happening. I don't know how I'll vote the next time this question comes up, because we're in a new place. But I tried to use our influence to redirect the Israeli government and the Israeli war plan, and it didn't work. So I'm not happy with the outcome either, but again, the choice often is between two lousy choices, and that's why I made the one I did.
Good afternoon, Congressman. My name is Caleb Hare. I'm a proud veteran of the United States Navy.
Thank you for your service.
I hear your run-of-the-mill baseball analogy. I hear your company line. I want to know what is specifically being done to protect habeas corpus and the First Amendment right. I do know that Cal Poly, one of the premier polytechnic institutions in the entire country, protested the war in Gaza. That has put our students on a list, and I want to know what is being done to protect them and what is being done to protect the right of habeas corpus. We cannot see our citizenship or our innocence without it, and ICE is taking plainclothes, Gestapo goon squads piped up to the gills to take people off the street, take them halfway across the country to a for-profit ICE detention center, or even worse, to yet another Republican-founded overseas torture slave labor gulag. What are we doing to protect our students from Cal Poly, and what are we doing to free the political prisoners already taken? Thank you, Congressman. All right, thank you.
So look, regardless of what you think about the content of some of these student protesters and other activists around the country that are starting to be targeted, you have to defend their First Amendment rights and their basic freedoms. Obviously, the right of habeas corpus and due process is essential. It's at the core of who we are as a nation. So I'm going to defend it in every way I can. In the case of Khalil, within days, I was on a letter signed by dozens of my colleagues objecting to this action, asking hard questions, and doing what Congress is supposed to do, engaging in oversight. And I will do that every single time I hear about this happening. Now, that said, I'm not trying to be run-of-the-mill or whatever the term was, but I don't have the ability to issue subpoenas, don't have the ability to hold hearings or to use some of the other tools that the majority in Congress has. I will try to lean on my Republican colleagues to create pressure for them to do it, because again, this shouldn't be partisan. The other thing I will do, and I do think this is important, I do think this makes a difference, is that my colleagues and I in Congress are working very closely with the groups that are litigating against all of these things. Groups like Democracy Forward and the ACLU and many others who have been preparing for some of these scenarios for a long time. And some of you may know that I saw some of this coming last year. When I learned about Project 2025, I knew I knew immediately that it was not just some think piece that the Heritage Foundation had put together, that it was different, that this was a very specific blueprint for authoritarianism. And so I launched this congressional task force to stop Project 2025, and we did our best to warn the country about it and to put it into the national conversation. We were so successful in elevating and educating people about Project 2025 that Donald Trump had to disclaim it. He lied, of course, but he said he had nothing to do with it, and we now know that that's absolutely a lie, because he's not only doing all of it, but he's doing even more. So the reason I bring that up is because I started working with some of these groups and with state attorneys general on the litigation plans and strategies to stop these things many months ago. And we now have set up in the Congress what we call the Litigation Rapid Response Task Force. I'm one of the members that's on it. I actually urged its creation. And we are very closely collaborating with the groups that are litigating. We are tracking not only the lawsuits and the court orders, but we're doing our best to track the compliance with those court orders and the accountability for that. If any of you want to know more about any of that, and it's a little overwhelming, I said there's over 130 lawsuits right now, and dozens of existing court orders. You almost can't track it all, but we have created some trackers, and actually Democracy Forward has created a really helpful tracker. If you want to go to the website, Democracy 2025, you can absolutely see a real-time tracking of all the latest cases and court orders. That's going to be a huge part of how we push back against this. So much in your question to unpack there. I mean, let me start with the fact that we're talking about, taking to the streets and being part of a nonviolent but powerful citizen movement. Let's, whatever you may think about Gaza and Israel, the people of Israel are in the street now. They are standing up for democracy in their country in probably a better way than we are at this point. We've got to catch up to the good folks in Israel who are trying to fight against Netanyahu to restore the state of democracy. It is not a lie. They're in the streets today, right now. And I think we will be too, because I think we share the value of democracy. We can get it. If you raise your hand, I promise we'll get to you. All right. Now, when we talk about rallies and protests and all that, I'm already doing them. When I kind of jokingly and in a self-deprecating way say I'm not AOC and Bernie, I don't mean that I don't care just as much about these things. I will be there with you for these protests. I will be in the streets. I just don't have millions of Instagram followers and incredible charismatic star power, but I'll try to do everything I can, okay? I will use use the tools that I've got and try to be part of it.
Hello, my name is Carmen Burns. I live in Arcata. I am completely disappointed in your concern and who you're going to try. I'm not feeling anything concrete, and I'm wondering also if you have taken a look at your moral compass lately. The concern I have came after watching a young Palestinian father holding his son's head and saying goodbye after Israeli forces slaughtered and shredded his body. That was very traumatizing. I care about what's happening in Palestine. I care about the tens of thousands of people that have been murdered. And I have not yet seen one move on your part to care, to do something, except continue with your votes for arms to Israel. You continually say they have a right to defend themselves. They are not defending themselves. They are butchering a people. It is called genocide. Where your human being has become disconnected to your politics.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. Look, I don't think I can probably satisfy you with my answer, but I will tell you this. If you're wondering if I find the violence in Gaza to be morally repugnant, I do. I promise you I really do. I'm horrified by it, including the scenes that you described, which are really happening, and I wish there was something I could do, more that I could do to stop it. But I've not been sitting on my hands. I know you disagree with my vote to provide assistance to the State of Israel, and I know some of you disagree with my position that the State of Israel has a right to exist. There's a debate about some of this stuff. But I've tried to be, well, let me try to answer the question, okay? I'm gonna do my best. It's easier when I'm not being yelled at, though. I believe the State of Israel does have a right to exist. That doesn't mean I support everything they do. Okay, so there are contradictions and nuances here. It is an issue that does not reduce to an absolute binary the way I think it has been suggested, where there is where a complete cutoff of all support for the people of Israel is necessary to support the people of Palestine. I have tried to support Palestinians so many ways, in ways that many pro-Israel folks are upset with me for. Okay? I'm probably in a position where I please absolutely no one on this issue. But I do believe that the State of Israel, as a Jewish and democratic state, should exist. I support them. And I also believe there should be a Palestinian state that has security and peace, and that we should end this conflict. And I oppose annexation, I oppose settlements, I oppose the Israeli government in so many ways that I've been very active on, but I understand it's not enough for some people. I think we will disagree on some of the details and nuances. And I'm opposing that. You do know this, right? You do know that I'm opposing those actions. I'm doing it in every way I can. But you know what? Maybe getting thousands and thousands of people not to vote for Democrats in the last election because they weren't perfect with what you want was a dumb idea. Maybe you should have some accountability for just totally misplaced advocacy on this issue. But let's move on. last question there. Last question. Give us our mental health, lower prescription drug costs, all these things that make a difference in your lives. And they're being vilified. And federal employees are being vilified in this cruel way as if they're just numbers. And they're being fired as if this was an episode of The Apprentice and that, you know, the crowd just loves all of these mass firings. Well, these are human beings.